we're stuck up in the air, and it was like a Toyota ambulance. So we had two front doors and then a rear hatch. And so I changed my mag. I climbed out the window because I didn't want to get out the side of the ambush because there's about 5 or 6 guys walking down with AKs and PKMs or bell-fed machine guns. The mental aspect, I was switched on, and that's one of the issues with people. There's a really good read for men and women that are veterans that watch this. Read the operator syndrome. It's a really good article, and it's about being switched on. Whether you pull the trigger in combat or not doesn't matter. But if you're in combat, when you're switched on all the time and you come home and you like, for me, I'd be home 2 or 3 weeks and I'd punch back out. By the time you start to normalize, people are like, man, you seem like you're on edge. I'm like, yeah, I got blown up yesterday. We're in a firefight or whatever the situation was. And by the time you start to decompress, you got to get your head straight on, to go back over. And living that lifestyle, for me, I worked in some capacity like that, whether it's executive protection, the agency, or my prior service with the SF. I had to be switched on, and that's a large period of my life. If you look at it, my adult life, and your amygdala, your fear center, gets hardwired. And that's what lends itself for people having anxiety and depression, and that fear center is hardwired. So you have to retrain your brain to kind of, for me, I was very hypervigilant. I was easily agitated, walking around at an 8 out of 10. So like if I got in an argument, I would go full bore, like on the flip of a switch, because that's what kept me alive in combat. But at the time, I never thought about, I was like, if I die, I die. It was very, for me, it was just like, that mindset was just the way I was. I don't know if it's the same for other people. I didn't think about it. Today, if I went through this similar situations, I'd be like, dude, I don't even want to drive on this street. Like Khadijah Expressway at the time was an exceptionally dangerous road to travel. I had 2 IDs on that.
What expressway?
It was called Route Irish or Khadijah Expressway in Iraq. And at the time, it was the most, it should come up like the most dangerous road, I think, in the world at the time, because it was so laden with explosives. The bomb makers were taking out vehicles.
Remember? Tom talked about
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and that's how every day we'd have to drive down that road to get out of, the place we were living and housed, in Iraq. Our base was like there, and we'd always have to go down that road to go to work. So it was kind of like you're rolling the dice just going to do an operation. It was a little dicey, which we knew, but I couldn't think about that. You're thinking about the objectives. Everything's about securing the objective and accomplishing the mission that you're doing for the day. So, like I said, today I don't think I could work in the same capacity because my mindset's different now. I'm focused on other things, and I'd be like, that's pretty insane. Especially,
you mentioned it a couple times today, but there were a couple different IEDs that hit you guys, but what happened there?
Well, I think it was my first. I can't remember because I've also have got TBI, so my memory is not what it used to be. I can't recall a lot of things, like even people that I was really tight with. I can't names and situations. There's certain guys that I know that can remember every fucking detail, and I'm always so impressed by that. And I kind of attribute some of that as probably because I got punched in the face a lot, for fun. So I'm not that guy that remembers all the details, but like it was either my first or my second deployment was my first ambush that I was in when I was in Special Forces. And I was in North Africa near Libya. And that one was pretty bad because you're talking about mindset. Like that one, it was just happenstance, just driving down the road. I did not have an AR. I was in civilian clothes with just 2 teammates and some NGOs. And we got lit up by AK. And they shot the tire out. I was driving, and I shot the guy that was shooting at us. And we ended up rolling because they shot the front tire got shot out. And there was this big ravine on both sides of the road, like a drainage ditch that was real deep, like maybe 4 feet, 5 feet. So when we hit that, we ended up rolling and ending up in the air. And So out of this training, because I was a young guy, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like 25, 26, somewhere around there. I joined, I went through selection when I was in E4. So I just got my E5 when I got to my team. So I was a fucking new guy, FNG. So I was just learning, and I switched my mag. I dumped about a half a mag towards the muzzle flash. I just got lucky, honestly. I'm not like, there's levels to the game at that time. I wasn't, certainly I wasn't the best shooter on my team. But anyway, I hit the dude pretty much center mass, luckily, what I found out later. And when we rolled, the guy next to me, my captain, was gone. And I was like, where did he go? And we're stuck up in the air. And it was like a Toyota ambulance. We had two front doors and then a rear hatch. And so I changed my mag. I climbed out the window because I didn't want to get out the side of the ambush because there's about 5 or 6 guys walking down with AKs and PKMs or bell-fed machine guns. And I got on the roof of the car and I was like, holy shit, these guys are, they're closing in. They're only like 100 meters, and it was dark out. It was very early in the morning, like maybe around 2 in the morning. And I was trying to take, orders from my boy. I was like, hey, do I need to light these guys up or do I, hold fast? And he's like, hold fast. And I was like, well, we're going to be surrounded by the time you guys get out because they were trapped in the vehicle. Mm-hmm. So as soon as guys rolled up, man, they put a fucking AK to my head and I put my pistol to the guy head, one of the Africans. And we had, I probably shouldn't say, a Mexican ambush. I don't know. We're just all pointing guns at each other. I think that's what they call it. It's not like a thing. But yeah, that was a really, like, if you talk about like me today, first of all, I probably would have shot at the guys and not given them the ability to close in, or who knows what I would have done. I'm in a totally different place in my life. And I didn't get nervous at all at the time. It was just kind of going on instinct. But we were there for like 2 or 3 hours. We had a letter from the president that we were there training their military. We didn't know who these guys were. One guy had like a 7-Eleven shirt and flip-flops and BDU pants. And another guy, they're all mismatched. And I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? Mm. And that situation, man, like going back to it, we were there for about 3 hours some of them spoke Arabic, some of them spoke French. I was a French speaker in language school. That's what I studied. But I wasn't fluent. Like, I'm not going to talk our way out of an ambush fluent. So luckily the NGOs, they kind of were trying to deconflict, and, some of the guys wanted to give up weapons, and I was like, no way, they're going to fucking smoke us. I was like, don't tell them I was the one that shot their guy, because they wanted to know who shot their guy. Yeah. But because we eventually, we gave up our weapons, they were actually, my gun was still hot, meaning it was on fire. And I changed my mag, so I think, they were kind of looking at the guns when they took them from us. And he was smelling the barrel with his finger on the trigger, and I was like, man, I hope this dude smokes himself because I'll take care of one of them. Like, it was absurd, man. That's what I'm telling you. Like, these situations were really absurd. And then eventually they just marched us down the road, and there was a dude with a bell fed. And I thought they were going to execute us, honestly, at the time, because I was like, hey, man, I told one of my guys on my team who was like senior to me. I was like the young guys. Most of the guys were in their mid-30s. I was like, I still got a Spyderco, man. He's like, shut the fuck up, new guy. Like, what are you going to fucking like stab these dudes? Yeah. They got like AKs.
All right, John Rambo.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. And they put us on our knees, man, behind. And I was like, dude, they're going to fucking execute us right now. And I just didn't, at that point, you're just rolling the dice. So my mindset at that time, we finally had a guy, they turned out to be military. And we got out of that situation around 5, 6 in the morning when the sun was coming up. And that's when I knew they brought, the dude was still walking that I shot. And I was like, how the fuck, I had a ball ammo. How the fuck did I carry ball ammo in that kind of situation? And I had a Beretta 9mm. That's all I had. I had one more mag. I had 3 mags on me. And I had a fanny pack, so I get made fun of a lot for that. But I didn't tell anybody that story until recently because I didn't want to get in trouble at the time. It became an international incident.
Yeah, I remember this one.
So it was kind of a shit show.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.